Welcome back to Tightlining, Maryland. I am at Big Hunting Creek again. I am excited to be here. I'm with my buddy Eric. We are doing a fishing trip I've been looking forward to for quite some time. First of all, it's Saturday, May 26th, Memorial Day weekend, and I am at Big Hunting Creek. I'm going to be fishing my way out to Western Maryland. So we're going to start at Big Hunting. We're going to go to Beaver Creek, and I'm going to try to record this weekend in 3 video installments, one for each day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's nothing better than getting a trip planned together, having relatively good weather, great water, and just, everything kind of coming together. So nevertheless, I'm at Big Hunting again. I'm going to try to use patterns similar to the last time I was here a couple weeks ago, but the levels are up a little bit. The bug life is going to be a little bit more abundant. So it's just a good opportunity for me to learn hopefully a couple new things on the stream, catch hopefully as many fish as last time. I almost got like a dozen here, but it's unfortunate that I won't be spending Memorial Day weekend with my family, but definitely something I've been looking forward to hang out with my buddy Eric, who I haven't seen in a little bit. So we're going to share a stream together, and hopefully we can put some good fish on film for you. Feeder current into this little stretch, so we're going to get a good run in there and see what we can maybe pull out. Okay. Got ourselves a rainbow. First one out of Big Hunting Creek this year. And there we go. Feisty. So, there he goes. Not gonna get him on camera today, but nice little fish, tight little run. Not much space, maybe 1.5 foot deep, but nevertheless, started at the top of the drift, kind of put it through. Rainbow sitting in the back end of it. Good start. Took the tungsten torpedo. So still an effective pattern here in late May. Just to quickly describe what I'm using today, I am using a rig basically identical to what I was using the last time I was here. So if you didn't watch that video, I'll give you a quick rundown. I'm using a 10-foot Syndicate. It is a P2 series competition fly rod. That 10-foot is a 3-weight. They do make them in 2 weights, which I can only imagine the sensitivity, but honestly, the 3-weight does everything I need it to and more. And it is pretty much my favorite rod. But in terms of setup, I have my mono rig that I usually run. And again, please refer back to previous videos. I think I've described it twice. But the setup for flies today is going to be a tungsten torpedo on the bottom and a sexy waltz at the top that I have double surgeons knot coming off of the tag. So they're about, I would say, 18 or more inches apart, but really effective pattern for me last time I was here, and excited that I've already put one on the rod today and in the net. Okay, got a brown trout. Another nice fish. Same hole that I got one before. I'm very curious if it's the same fish, which would be pretty cool. Oh. Oh. But he is in the net, and that adds to the day. 2 fish, 1 miss, 2 species, most importantly. Okay. Very, very pretty brown trout. Again, wild fish on this stream. Caught out of the same hole as last time. Doesn't look to be the same fish, but you can never be certain. But great pink spots. You know, really nice adipose fin. You know, really, really red right there. Just a stunning fish. Love Big Hunting Creek. Fat fish too. And there he goes. Alright guys, just a quick look at my fly box for this weekend. I wish I would have tied some more, but you know, got at least a few of each pattern. I brought my materials with me so I can tie, but I've got a couple new mop colors that I've tied. You know, real simple pattern, but unique. I also have the standard, you know, green ones that basically are a green mop, but kind of act as like a green weenie. You know, a woolly bugger in case the flows are high that I tied, and I have, you know, some other stringer patterns that I didn't tie, some egg patterns, you know, some soft tackle flies, a couple small dry flies, some CDCs. Let's see, but the flies that I'm primarily using today are going to be hare's ears, you know, some hare's ears with a spot, you know, hot spot. Some of the tungsten surveyors, love those flies. Those are great, another easy one to tie. Highly encourage you guys to consider it for those that are trying to get into flying. Tungsten torpedoes are what I'm currently using. I got a couple 12s, couple 14s, iron lotus flies, and then the other fly that I'm using today is the sexy waltz. So, you know, that's a fly that's, again, very similar to the hare's ear, quite easy to tie, but lethal. So far today, I've got one on a tungsten surveyor on the bottom, and off the tag, I've got one for the sexy waltz. But nevertheless, I've tied probably 75–80% of the flies in here. I've got a Lively Legs day pack, you know, as well as some dry flies. But overall, I feel, you know, confident I've got the selection needed. I've already hooked 3 fish, caught 2. It should be a good day, and you know, hopefully Eric's having a little bit of luck behind me. I'm gonna have to touch base with him soon, but great start to the day. So I am back on Little Hunting Creek. I'm turning on the camera after catching about 3 fish, excuse me, about 7 or 8 fish over at Big Hunting. I only had 3 on film before I realized the battery was getting low, so I turned it off. I popped in a new battery. I am at stream number 2. Last time at Little Hunting, I caught 2 fish, 2 only. 1 brown trout, not big. 1 brook trout, not bad. Today, I've already caught 10 fish out of Little Hunting Creek, one of which I'll post the picture, but I wasn't filming, and by the time I was getting ready to get a actually good photo with a buddy of mine, that fish was just ready to be out of my hands and jump right back in. So that was probably a 13 or 14 inch wild brown trout, and just unbelievable day. Just to quickly describe those, so it's not just about like me catching fish, here's what I'm using today. I'm using my regular leader system that I've talked about before, so I'm sure if you watched previous videos you've seen it. But what I'm doing with my tippet today is I have about a 3.5–4 foot section of tippet that leads down to a double surgeon's knot. And what's unique about today with this setup is, as you can see, I have on a kind of like sulfur or yellow elk hair caddis, and that's connected to what these fish have been crushing today, a tungsten torpedo. The torpedo is only about a foot below, and that tag that you can kind of see dangling off is acting as my indicator. So today, I'm on this tiny stream. It reminds me of where I'm headed out in Western Maryland, and if I have half as good of luck as what I've started here today, you know, I'm gonna have an absolutely phenomenal trip. This has probably been my favorite stream that I've arguably ever fished, not only because I'm catching fish, but I'm catching gorgeous fish. I'm trying a new technique. It's paying off. So I highly encourage you guys, if you can, to look back at my old leader system and then just see what I've done with a 4 foot section of tippet that's double surgeon's knot, where I use the tag for a dry fly, and then I just have a tungsten torpedo at the bottom. I mean, could be arguably any fly, but today they're going for that torpedo. So I just had to share that. I'll start putting some fish on camera. I wanted to kind of see what I had, and so far in about an hour I've caught 10 fish, and 2 different types, and 1 stunning fish that I don't even know if I can duplicate. I'm kind of stunned for words. So thank you guys for watching, and you know, I'm gonna keep going with day 1. We got the rest of this creek and 1 more to go, so enjoy. Another little brown trout. In and out of the net, left and right. Now this size fish is pretty much what is consistently hitting. You know, I've certainly gotten some fish that are bigger for sure, you know, as pictured earlier, but you know, you're gonna run into mostly those size fish, but still, I mean, fun to catch, aggressive as all hell. They're in here and all over. Just lost another one. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. I mean, honestly, you know, I'm just not fishing well. It's a matter of poor hook sets. That's all it is. You know, I got myself to blame. I can reflect on that and be honest with myself. So, you know, hopefully that leads to better catch rates. But you know, I'm getting good drifts. That's a positive. I'm finding the holes. That's a positive. You know, I got the right fly. That's another positive. But ultimately, if you're not landing them, it's a waste of time and energy. So going to use a little bit of the dust, if you will, the magic dust. Wrong pocket. So hopefully you guys can see this. It's a high float, shake and float. First got introduced to that with PJ, the guy I'm going out with tomorrow, that I'll be filming on the
hopefully on the float strip, but you just get it in there, give it a quick shake, you know, and like magic, that thing comes out perfect, as if you had just put, you know, some sort of floating on it earlier. And now it's going to sit up nice and high in that water column and give me a great drift. So do it again. Boom. Good drift, just didn't get anything. Tell you, man, these fish, when they're small, they sneak out of that net. But I count it because it went in. All right, guys, I got my first brown trout on a dry fly. Unfortunately, I didn't have a camera on, but trying to conserve a little bit. Worried about film and how much I'll have. You know, at this point of the trip, I'll probably just start kind of creating a collage almost, maybe a little bit here and there of like prime spots, but generally speaking, I just got to be mindful of not burning up too much film stored for the weekend, with it being a 3-day trip and no way to edit it down and, you know, save it somewhere else in the meantime. All right, guys, so I'm basically fishing pocket water here today. I can already tell that this hole right up here should be holding a fish, and hopefully a nice fish. I can see a fish coming out of this front up here. Basically all I'm doing is I'm literally one roll cast away. And for that reason, I'm gonna slide into this hole. If I spook anything, I spook something. Typically I'd fish this run, but that run over there is ideal. You can see how this pool kind of just tumbles in, has a nice little pool at the bottom. And if there's not a brown or a brook trout in there, I would be shocked. I mean, that's what you look for when you're hunting this type of little stream. So let's get one in there. Got the elk hair to kind of act as a indicator. It's getting sucked under because honestly, I think my tungsten torpedo is a little heavy for the fly, but you know, I'll be darned if I'm not still catching fish. So I might switch over to a 14, but for right now I got a 12 on. Wow, nothing out of that hole. I mean, that's been the type of hole I've been shooting for all day, and it's been producing. You know, I've also caught fish in this pocket water and not just the pools. I mean, they're all kind of producing right now. Another little area where I can see a hole where fish should be lying. It's gonna be right up here by this rock. It's got a nice undercut. So try to get a couple good drifts in here. Whew. Okay, another little brownie. I couldn't even really see that one. He's off and out, but couldn't even see the take. I mean, luckily just the high stick nymphing was able to set the hook on him, but we'll take it. I mean, that's another fish. So somewhere around a dozen fish at a Little Hunting Creek.
I'm out here on Little Hunting Creek and I'm absolutely repping my water today. So I've got about 2 dozen fish. I'm getting ready to wrap up this hole, and I'm noticing that I'm starting to get some plunge pools that I just can't really fish very well with this dry dropper system. I'm gonna give you 2 quick resources, troutbitten.com and dynamic nymphing by Lance Egan. You know, those two are instrumental to like me as a growing fly fisherman. I'm switching over to a streamer, kind of like what I did on the Cadorus Creek, and I expect to basically run these streamers through and move some fish. So let's see how we do with this modification. I wanted to switch to a streamer, try to get the little bit more aggressive fish, see if I couldn't move one off the bottom, and within the first couple drifts I had this nice little brown trout just come up and absolutely annihilate this white streamer. It has really treated me well, even for wild fish. So here is the, you know, brownie that got it. You know, again, he's hitting something that's basically the size of his head and he's putting it down. But, you know, a nice big hunting creek trout, and back he goes. I am now in Western Maryland officially. We, Eric and I, fished our way all the way out to the Savage River area. We're in the state forest. We are currently at a tributary of the Savage. We are parked here at our, you know, very primitive campsite. Got our little picnic table, got the fire pit, a couple logs, Kindle, you know, great, yeah, different Kindle than, you know, if I was in Baltimore, but nevertheless, what we need for today. And you know, the stream is right in our backyard. It may be a little tough to see, but I'm pretty confident you can. Eric's already back there. He's got one brook trout to his name already on a dry. I'm gonna do a little bit different style with a tripod and fish this stream because it's low. I feel like I can kind of take this with me instead of having to do the head mount, because a lot of the streams I fish, it just doesn't work out. But without going into great detail about, you know, the stuff related to filming, I just want to get on the water. I am ecstatic to be here. We are gonna fish tonight in this tributary for the evening, and then we're headed out on a float trip tomorrow, which I'm gonna record as well. It's night 1 of 2, day 1 of 3. Can't wait. So with no further ado, let's get out on the water. To quickly explain the setup, I am doing the same as earlier. I've got the tungsten torpedo. I've got that double surgeon's knot again down to my elk hair caddis. We are in search of brook trout, and that's pretty much all that's in this stream. So far today, it's been an epic day. Big Hunting Creek basically yielded me, I believe it was 6 or 7 fish total, with a couple decent fish for sure. You know, one nice rainbow, one really nice brown trout, and then we headed to Little Hunting Creek where I had my personal best day on the water, period. And, you know, caught somewhere in the tune of safely 16, probably 20 fish. And I ended up catching a 14-inch brown. You know, just having already briefly scouted this water, you know, there's some pretty nice little runs. Excuse me, some nice runs up ahead. I've got this piece of water right here, that little drop down ahead. You know, most pools in here and most riffles or runs are only gonna be about 6 inches to maybe 2 feet deep. But let's get this camera set up and let's, you know, get the filming going. As you guys can see, I fish behind the camera, and first drift, I've got a wild brook trout. That's why we're here. It is going to be an epic night. So one more look and then we'll get them back, because I know these fish are very fragile, but just stunning.
right, got a very colorful brook trout on the tungsten torpedo. Probably come off here in a second because I don't have my net. Wet my hand. But just a beautiful fish. And the red on the bottom, the nice gray color body. But let's get him released. So I think this is gonna be the last spot I record tonight unless I get a really nice fish. I'm probably up to 8 to a dozen. I stopped keeping count. Been a great night. Thunderstorm is getting ready to push in though soon, but for now I've got one very nice hole up ahead that I'd like to get some drifts into. A lot of these brookies have been in the oxygen rich, like faster water, not so much the pools, which is to be expected. The water's been heating up, so it makes sense. But I've had takes on top, I've had takes primarily underneath, so a nice variety of ways to catch brook trout. Oh, nice take on the dry. Okay. Small but nice fish. Always nice to get one on the dry. Oh boys, there are fish rising in this hole. This is gonna get good. This is a great way to burn out the last of the film and battery for today. All right, I'm gonna dip this back in some of the magic powder because it is critical to keep this thing riding high. Just had another little hit, but it was tough to detect. Oh boy. Oh, brings me to my knees. Oh, that hurts. That was an 11 or 12 inch wild brookie. Lost him. Highly disappointed. Oh, God, I just can't emphasize enough. That's why you come here. I mean, to hook into an 11 or 12 inch trophy brook trout in a wild stream. These fish are natives. You just don't have that happen often. That will probably be the only chance I get at that fish. Well, I pulled one out, but man, I had his brother in my sights, and his brother had a master's degree compared to this little guy. Don't get me wrong, this is a beautiful fish. I am ecstatic to be out here catching them. I mean, look at the colors on that fish. They're stunning, but that camera's gonna have to go off until I get a big one, guys. So again, I hope you saw it. I hope you're as disappointed as I am, but that was a trophy fish for this stream. Well guys, we can call this V for Vendetta because I have got a nice brook trout, my best one of the day, most colorful. He is not as big as the one I missed in the last hole, but nevertheless took this caddis that I've been running off the top, and now that I'm at about 15 seconds, I'm gonna put him back in and then take this hook out. But great fish, and very, very happy to have landed one finally.